Good morning, dear students. In this lecture, we are going to study next point, which is next to projectile motion under resistive medium. That point is rocket motion. So, all of you must have been familiar with what are the rockets and how we can use those rockets to launch satellites, okay, to carry sometimes man missions, okay. There are various purposes of rocket launching. In India we have a space agency which is ISRO, which is actively engaged in such missions. So in this topic we are going to study how that rocket motion equations are derived. Before that, we know that in rocket motion the mass of that rocket is changing with respect to time. Why? Because the fuel which is burning in that rocket, the mass is going to reduce by burning of that fuel. So as that rocket travels, the mass of that rocket will change. So this is variable mass system. Before that, we didn't consider such system. Okay. And here again, for rocket studying rocket motion, we are going to make certain assumptions. What are those assumptions? First one is acceleration due to gravity g is constant throughout motion. Okay. Second assumption for rocket motion is that air resistive force is negligible. Okay. Then effect of earth rotation is negligible. Okay, these are the three assumptions we are going to make. We know that as rocket goes vertically upward, value of g is going to decrease, but we are not going to take that effect into consideration. Air resistive force, we know that air resistance always will be there, but we are not going to take any air resistive force. Effect of earth rotation, we have to take Coriolis force into account, but here we are not going to take these forces. Okay. Now, for applying Newton's second law of motion, we must know what are the external forces which are acting on that rocket. Suppose rocket is moving vertically upward. Okay. So this is general block diagram of that rocket which is moving upward. This is direction of gravitational force. If you take this direction as positive y direction, then we know that first force is gravitational force, which is mass of that rocket, okay, multiply by acceleration due to gravity, is always directed downwards. Which is the second force? Second force is of course keeping this rocket or propelled in upward direction. That force is nothing but thrust force. Okay. Now, how this thrust force came into play? We know that in this section, gases are ejected. Okay. Here in India, we have cryogenic technology of engines, rocket engines. Those eject very hot gases at very high speed. They are ejected from like this. So due to that ejected gas, upward force, which is thrust force, is exerted on that rocket. Okay. So when we apply Newton's second law of motion, how can we apply? External force, which is gravitational force plus thrust force, is equal to mass into acceleration. Okay. Now we don't know now what is the nature of that thrust force. Okay, why this thrust force came into play? Because the ejected gases, okay, they are giving that force. So that force is produced by burning of fuel or burning of gases. So we have to find out equation for that. Okay, so for finding equation for thrust force, if we are going to consider law of conservation of momentum due to this thrust force. Okay, how? We are not taking this gravitational force into account. Suppose at t this rocket is moving vertically upward, which is having velocity v. Okay, consider mass of that rocket is m. After time t plus delta t, okay, suppose fuel of amount delta m is burned. So I can that show like this. Delta m fuel is burned in time delta t. At that time, suppose rocket attains velocity v plus delta v. This velocity is higher than this velocity. Okay. Now, suppose u is the velocity of exhaust gases. Suppose we stand over here in inertial frame of reference. Okay. Suppose we stand on the surface of Earth. Then compared to us, velocity of rocket is v and velocity of exhaust gases is u. So compared to us, relative velocity is v minus u for exhaust gases which are coming from here to here. Now, resultant mass of rocket remains m minus delta m. Okay. Remember, here we did not consider any gravitational force. Now, if we apply law of conservation of momentum at these two different moments at t and t plus delta t, what we will get? By conservation of momentum at t and t plus delta t, at t and t plus delta t, what we will get? At that time, momentum is mass into velocity. So mass of this is m, velocity is v is equal to, at time t plus delta t, momentum of this plus momentum of this. Momentum of this is m, mass is m minus delta m, and velocity is v plus delta v, plus momentum of this, mass of exhaust gases is delta m, velocity is v minus u. Okay, so now this is equal to, what we will get? M into v, okay, plus m into delta v minus delta m into v and minus delta m delta v plus delta m into v minus delta m into u. We can cancel mv. Okay, the next factor we can cancel which factor we can cancel? Okay, minus delta m into v and plus delta m into v. Okay, again multiplication of delta m and delta v. Delta m, which means small increment in small change in mass, decrease in mass. Delta v is small increase in velocity. So product of these two terms we can neglect. Why? Because these are the two infinitesimal quantities. Okay, so we end up with only two terms. m into delta v and delta m into u. We can take this term to left hand side. Okay, so what we will get, so I can write the term over here, m into delta v is equal to delta m into u. So take or divide this with delta t and take limit as delta t tends to 0 on both sides. What we will get? By definition, m limit as delta t tends to 0 delta v upon delta t, which is nothing but dv upon dt. Now this is equal to, here limit as delta t tends to 0 delta m divided by delta t, which is nothing but dm upon dt, and multiply by u. So mass into rate of change of velocity, this is acceleration. So mass into acceleration is nothing but force, and here we get u into dm by dt. Dm by dt means rate of burning of fuel. This is rate of change of mass of what? Rocket. Why mass of rocket is changing? Because of burning of fuel. Okay. So by definition, this is nothing but thrust force. Now see over here, m into dv by dt. We know that as time goes on increasing, here see at time t and t plus delta t, dv means velocity is increasing. And in this factor, dm upon dt means what? Rate of change of mass with respect to time. As time goes on increasing, mass of that rocket is decreasing. So this factor is increasing, this factor is decreasing. That's why we have to give negative sign over here. Okay. So we know that what is the thrust force? Minus u into dm upon dt. Okay. So using in equation 1 of Newton's second law of motion. So put in equation 1, what we will get? We get mass into acceleration, which is nothing but mass into rate of change of velocity, is equal to minus m into g, and thrust force. And thrust force is minus u into dm upon dt. Okay. So again, here we get linear homogeneous first order differential equation in velocity. So we can solve this equation by separation of variables. So if we divide m on both sides and multiply dt, so this dt will get cancelled. And in next step, we have to integrate this equation. So integration of dv is v minus integration of g dt. G is constant, integration of dt is t, minus u is constant, dm upon m, and its integration. So that is ln of m. And plus we get constant of integration, because again this is definite motion. Okay. So to find out constant of integration, we must use initial conditions. Okay. So call this as equation 2. So at t is equal to 0, which means rocket is on the surface of ground. Velocity of rocket is 0. There is no any initial velocity to the rocket, because fuel does not started burning at that time. Okay. So at t equal to 0, velocity is 0, and m, in this equation we have to put m, which means mass of the rocket. We know that m is instantaneous mass, which means mass at time t. But at t equal to 0, m is equal to m0. m0 means what? Mass of vehicle plus mass of fuel. Okay, in that rocket, how much is the mass of vehicle and how much fuel that we put in that rocket. So m0 is the total mass, which is mass of vehicle plus mass of fuel. Remember, at time goes on increasing, mass of vehicle remains same, but mass of fuel goes on decreasing. Okay, so put m0 into, we will get constant c1 as, see, on left hand side we have velocity 0 at t equal to 0, this term is 0, minus u ln of, instead of m we have to put m0 plus c1. So c1 is nothing but u ln of m. So c1 is u ln of m0. Using into, we get velocity v is equal to minus gt minus u ln of m plus u ln of m0. If you take minus u common, then this becomes minus u ln of m minus u ln of m0. So this is nothing but ln of m upon m0. Okay, so call this as equation 3. So here we get instantaneous velocity of that rocket at time t. Okay, we know that as time goes on increasing, velocity of that rocket is goes on increasing. This factor is negative because m is less than m0. That's why we get here number which is less than 1, and ln of number which is less than 1 is negative number. That's why this term becomes positive, and as time goes on increasing, velocity is also goes on increasing. Okay, now next, in terms of, if we assume fuel in the rocket burning at a constant rate. Okay, suppose we design engine of that rocket in a such a way that fuel in that rocket is burning at a constant rate. Okay, and we know that rate, at how much rate does that fuel is burning. Okay, in that case, we can simplify again these equations. Suppose rate in rate of burning of fuel is constant, which is we are calling as alpha, okay, of rocket. So alpha is nothing but rate of burning of fuel, which is nothing but minus dm upon dt. Okay, because that rate is negative, because fuel mass of fuel goes on decreasing. So here we get dm is nothing but alpha dt. Integrating this equation, m is equal to minus alpha t plus c2. Okay, so again at t equal to 0, we know that in this equation mass of that rocket is m0, which is mass of vehicle plus mass of fuel. So then c2 is nothing but, when you put t equal to 0, c2 becomes m0. Okay, so this is the equation for, if you put value of c2 in this equation, what is the mass of that rocket at time t, assuming that fuel inside the rocket burns at a constant rate, and that rate is alpha. So put m equal to m0 minus alpha t in equation 3. So using in equation 3, we get velocity of that rocket at time t is equal to minus gt minus u ln of m. M is nothing but m0 minus alpha t upon m0. Suppose you give that m0 to this factor and this factor, so we can write this as 1 minus alpha t upon m0. So this is the equation for instantaneous velocity of that rocket. For finding instantaneous velocity in this equation, we must know what is the rate or velocity by which exhaust gases are ejected from engine, m0, which means initial mass of that rocket, which is mass of vehicle and mass of fuel. Okay. Now to find out instantaneous position of that rocket, remember we have taken positive y direction as a vertical axis. So to find instantaneous position, which is y of rocket, we know that velocity is nothing but rate of change of that instantaneous y position. So from this equation, dy is equal to v into dt. Okay. So from equation 4, what we will get? From equation 4, dy is equal to v into dt, which is minus g t into dt minus u ln of 1 minus alpha t upon m0 into dt. So again, to find out instantaneous y position, we have to integrate this equation. Okay. So integration of dy is y is equal to minus g t dt. Its integration becomes t square by 2 minus here u is constant. Okay. And integration of ln of 1 minus alpha t upon m0 dt. We have to integrate with respect to t. So we know that integration of ln of x dx is nothing but x ln x minus x. So here x is 1 minus alpha t upon m0. But this is again implicit function of time. So we have to divide this by derivative of this. Okay. So first term is that x, which is 1 minus alpha t upon m0 into ln of x, which is again 1 minus alpha t upon m0 minus x, which is 1 minus alpha t upon m0. Okay. And divided by derivative of 1 minus alpha t upon m0, which is minus alpha upon m0, and plus constant of integration, which is c3. Again, motion is definite, that's why we have to take this constant of integration. So what is the equation for instantaneous y position? So y is equal to minus 1 half gt square. If I take this minus sign over here, so that becomes plus, and this factor becomes m0u upon alpha. Okay, if I take this factor over here, and in bracket, what we will remain? 1 minus alpha t m0 ln of 1 minus alpha t m0 minus 1 minus alpha t m0 and plus c3. Okay. Again, to find out value of this constant c3, we must substitute in this equation known conditions. Okay, what are those known conditions? At time t is equal to 0, y is equal to 0. So use in above equation. So what we will get? See, at t equal to 0, y is equal to 0. So left hand side becomes 0, y is equal to 0 is equal. If you put t equal to 0, this factor becomes 0, m0 u upon alpha in bracket. 1 minus, when you substitute t equal to 0, that becomes 1 minus 0, which remains 1. Ln of 1 minus again 0. So 1 minus 0 becomes 1. So ln of 1, we know that ln of 1 is 0. So all this first factor becomes 0. The next minus 1 and plus, if you put t equal to 0, this factor also becomes 0. So in this whole bracket, when you put t equal to 0, we will get minus 1. So minus 1 multiplied by this factor. So that becomes minus m0 u upon alpha. So C3 is nothing but, if you take this minus term over left hand side, so that becomes m0 u upon alpha. Okay. Okay. So C3 is m0 u upon alpha. So use in above equation. If you substitute value of C3, which is m0 u upon alpha, in this equation, so here we have to put m0 u upon alpha. Okay. Again, if you take m0 u upon alpha common from this term and this term, here we get only plus 1. Okay. So this, if you multiply minus sign to this, it will become minus 1 and this will become plus 1. So minus 1 plus 1, this term will get cancelled, and we get simplified equation as y is equal to minus 1 half gt square plus m0 u upon alpha in bracket. If you do cross multiplication, m0 minus alpha t upon m0, again ln of 1 minus alpha t upon m0. Okay, and here we get alpha t upon m0. Now keep u over here and multiply by m0 upon alpha to this term and this term. So what we will get? m0 will get cancelled, and from this term we get m0 minus alpha t upon alpha, and from this m0 alpha alpha, and we get only t. So y is equal to minus half gt square plus u into u. We can write that t term over here, t plus m0 minus alpha t upon alpha into ln of 1 minus alpha t upon m0. So this is the equation for instantaneous vertical height attained by rocket at time t. Okay. So if you do dimensional analysis, acceleration meter per second square. So per second square and second square, here we get only meter. Meter per second, and here second. So per second of that velocity goes out, and we here we get only meters. In this term, this is m0 alpha t, again dimensions of m0, because we know that alpha is dm upon dt, which is kg per second. Kg per second into second, so that remains kg. So kg divided by kg per second. Okay, so kg divided by kg per second remains second. So meter per second multiplied by second, dimension of y remains meter. ln of any is dimensionless. Okay, so unit wise this equation is also correct, sorry, dimension wise. So from this equation we can find out vertical height attained by that rocket at time t. Okay, now to find out maximum height attained by the rocket at time t. Okay, how can we find? We know that when that rocket attains maximum height, at that time all the fuel in that rocket is burned. Okay, suppose t, which is capital T, is the time required for attaining maximum height. Okay, and at that time mass of that rocket is nothing but mass of vehicle only, because we know that mass is mass of vehicle plus mass of fuel. So as time goes on increasing, mass of fuel goes on decreasing. When whole fuel is burned, at that time mass of fuel becomes zero, so mass of that rocket becomes mass of vehicle. Okay, so at t equal to t, m equal to mass of vehicle. Okay, and from our equation m equal to m0 minus alpha t, suppose at t equal to t, what we will get? Here we get alpha t, and here we get mass of vehicle. So alpha t is m0 minus, but m0 is mass of vehicle plus mass of fuel minus this mass of vehicle. So we can find out from this alpha is nothing but mass of fuel divided by t. Okay, so this much rate we have to decide of burning of fuel. How can we find out how much is fuel we put inside that rocket? And t, capital T, which means how much time required to burn whole fuel. Okay, again from these equations, here we can put t as capital T, here capital T, and look at this factor m0 minus alpha t upon alpha, and this factor alpha t upon m0. Okay, so first of all, in this factor, when you put t equal to capital T, so m0 minus alpha t becomes mass of vehicle. So at that time m0 minus alpha t upon m0 becomes, sorry, upon alpha becomes m0 minus alpha t, which is nothing but mass of vehicle. Okay, divided by alpha, which is nothing but mass of fuel divided by capital T. So m0 minus alpha t upon alpha is nothing but mass of vehicle to mass of fuel. So ratio of how much is the mass of vehicle and how much is the mass of fuel, we can put that value in that equation. Also in the next factor, alpha t upon m0. Okay, so what is alpha upon m0? We know that for alpha we have to put mass of fuel to divided by capital T. So here we get mass of fuel upon capital T. Okay, so that T we will get cancelled, and alpha T upon m0 is nothing but mass of fuel to total mass. So Y max, which means maximum height attained by the projectile, is minus half g. Here we have to put capital T square, u, again capital T, m0 minus alpha t upon alpha. Okay, so that factor becomes mass of vehicle divided by mass of fuel into capital T. Again, ln of minus alpha T upon m0, this factor becomes mass of fuel upon m0. So this is the equation for maximum height attained by the projectile. So write down this equation, okay, because in your that book that equation is not given, and we are going to use this equation for problem solving, okay. For any rocket, maximum height attained by the rocket maximum height attained by the rocket is limited. Why? Because that depends on ratio of mass of vehicle to mass of fuel, and here we can see this factor, mass of fuel to total mass. Okay. If we know that this factor is limited, you cannot put mass of fuel as mass of total total mass of that rocket. Okay. So due to this factor, maximum height attained by the rocket is limited. That's why to attain maximum heights, multi-stage rockets are used. Okay. So in exam you have question why single stage rocket is not used and multi-stage rockets are used. Why? Because if you use single stage rocket, in that case maximum height attained by the rocket is limited due to this ratio, mass of fuel to total mass of rocket. To attain maximum height, we must use multi-stage rocket. Okay. So how this multi-stage rocket work? They attain, there are 3 or 4 stages rockets. First they go up to certain height, then first stage is detached, then burning of second stage will start. So again it will attain next height. At that height again second stage is detached, and again all the stage are detached, and burning of next stage fuel will start. So in this way multi-stage rockets are used. Okay. So with this discussion we finish our point, which is rocket motion. Okay. So thank you.